Welcome, fellow last placers, to our first official live LPF show.
Yeah.
So
Man, we're fancy, man.
Oh my God,
Listen to
Look
these
at
mics.
us. We sound good. We look good.
I got a confession to make.
Okay.
What happened? You don't like the
Our
headset?
our first of my first mess up of the live show.
What'd you do?
So we didn't on the starting soon page. We didn't add the mixer to the starting soon page,
Oh,
so they didn't hear the intro music. Only we heard.
Oh, that's all
wow.
good.
Oh, that's all right.
we
We'll
don't,
fix
we don't
it in
need all
post.
that. Yeah.
And are we on YouTube and everything?
We are live
Showing
on.
Frozen. So give me a second.
Oh, Frozen. Little sponsored by Elsa.
We are live on Twitch. Yes.
What about YouTube? Because I remember we took it off of to test it earlier.
Turned it back
Hold on, while we only spent 3
Hey,
hours
listen,
trying to figure this
yeah.
out.
All right, but we are here for our first live show. Welcome, gentlemen. It's good to see you guys and actually talk to you.
Yeah,
know?
man. It's weird being in the same room when we've been doing this for over a year.
I know.
In our own
literally.
houses. Finally, we get together now that COVID's a little bit more under control. But it's been great. Like I said, we spent about 2-3 hours, maybe even more, getting this all set up for you guys. And finally, here we are in person. We're hoping to do this more often because that's just the mics alone, man. The audio.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys on your end, but over here on ours, it's like
It's a night and day.
orgasmic.
It's literally, we're hearing everything that we would want to. And I mean, even visually, we got the lights going, we got everything. We want to thank Chris for letting us use the home, his
Yep.
space, for us to be able to do this live. So let's get on it. We're going to, talk about the stuff we normally do. And, you guys let us know how you feel. Let us know how you guys think about the setup and everything if you guys want us to do this more, because we definitely want to try to do this more often. So let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about some of our favorite, since we're all together, we're going to talk about some of our favorite split screen games like they used to do back in the day. We also are going to talk about IGN came out with their top open world games, and we're going to talk about that list and maybe have a little,
I thought I didn't have my list on me. I was like,
We do our first live show, and Black Magic is not even able to watch us. He's just dropping by. He's over
What?
here on YouTube. Be like, hey, I'm out to dinner. Had to say hi. So he's
Dinner?
not, he's not even watching. Man, we did this
I
for
mean,
you.
the good thing is the YouTube video will save. He can go back
Yeah,
and he
that's
can
true.
check us out. So
That's very
thank
true.
you for
yep.
even stopping by. We do appreciate that, brother. And then we're also going to talk about unforgettable soundtracks and video games. But before we do that, let's do a little housekeeping before we ask the gentlemen how they're doing and what they've been playing. We do have 2 videos that dropped this week. I have to reload the latest one, which was the ranking of 2021 videos. And then we also did Batman. So if you guys, I did that with 2 special guests. We had my brother Kyle, and then we had Richard come on. So go check those out. See what you guys think. Let us know in the comments what you think about those. We're also 3 subs away from giving away the Steel Series
Come on, guys.
mouse. We wanted to give it away or during the show, or at least announce the winner. We'll probably have to wait another week. But again, if you guys have a friend, a family member who has not subbed yet, please let them know. We just need 3, and then we can give away this mouse, okay? And if you guys want to be a guest on the show, you know where to find us. We're on Twitch, we're on YouTube. Hit up our personal Twitters, our, regular Twitter, our LPF
Facebooks.
Twitter, Facebooks, whatever.
Instagram.
Just
Don't
let us know.
forget
Instagram
Yep,
now,
yep.
yes. And I'm a little bit more active on there, so definitely check us out, all right? But, gentlemen, how you guys doing? How was your week? Yendi, how was
Week was pretty busy work wise and gaming wise. I think I tried playing. No, that was the week before. Elden Ring didn't work out. And then Chris and I attempted to play DayZ, but he was just not into it. It's a game that you really have a pretty steep learning curve to be able to actually enjoy. But it's just a very slow game to start as well, because if you don't know what you're doing and if you load into a server where everything is already gone, then it's not gonna be any good. So that he tried,
listen,
but it was bad.
the game won. Black Magic said, "Bye guys, Yendi sucks."
Okay,
Took
all
off.
right.
But the issue was, right, is that we played for a total of maybe like 30, 45 minutes. I searched the whole town and didn't find any loot at all.
Right.
And the server reset. while we were playing, and there was no loot. I found an empty shotgun, and that was it. And I was like, yeah, this isn't it. So yeah, now we're waiting to see what happens with what game I'm gonna get next, because my Steam wallet's nice and full again.
Yeah,
Oh,
mine's
yeah?
over
Nice and
at
juicy?
$60. But
Listen, I told you guys, if you guys looking for a game to play, just send it over to me, and I'll find the game for you. I
mean,
play.
I enjoy DayZ. Like it's a great game if you really want to, like, especially if you want to role play and stuff like that. It's just a really good game to get lost in, because the world is really cool. It really feels like it's really like drab and post-apocalyptic and stuff like that. So if you give it a chance and you join the right server and you have the that great experience where you're finding stuff and you're building and surviving, it's really a fun game, fun time. I spent a lot of time in my early Facebook gaming streaming days playing that game, and for some reason I got a lot of people who watched that stream specifically. Everything else nobody watched, but when it came to DayZ, for some reason it was super popular. But
It is crazy how the games are different on Facebook gaming than they are on, like, the popular games, or the games that people find popular on Facebook gaming are so much different than Twitch.
yeah,
At least that's how it feels to me.
yep.
So
But yeah, other than that, I've been good. Can't complain about anything. We've had really nice weather. It's nice and chilly tonight. Yesterday it was like even
for no
like,
reason,
perfect,
we did
yeah.
have that weird ass rain this morning though.
that too. Yeah, the weather's been all over the place, but I think we've seen it all so far, and just this week alone.
Yeah.
But
We're
yeah.
just missing snow.
can't complain. Just if you have any suggestions for what game I should buy on Steam, let me know, because I have a $60 Steam credit just sitting there, and I don't know. I feel like I don't want to spend it. I think I just want to see it there forever.
Yeah.
But I got to.
You mentioned God of War though.
Yeah, God of War, which was, I think it's on sale for like $50, $49.99 right now.
Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah, that's a big nope.
Yeah. Okay, you're missing out. That's a great game.
Listen, I mean, I obviously want to talk about God of War, so I think you should get God of War. So that's what I think.
That might be what it is. Yep.
Okay. And then Chris, how you doing, man? What you been playing? What you been doing? Let us know.
I've been playing still Horizon Zero Dawn. This week has been a little bit crazy because I leave for Massachusetts on Thursday. So I'll be heading out that way for a week, and I'm just gonna be catching up on my Switch games. I'll probably be playing Pokemon. Happy belated Mario Day to everybody. It was Mario Day. Today's the last day. If you're watching this live or recorded and like after it's uploaded tonight is the last night that you can get discounted Mario games on the App Store. So I actually purchased Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games because I actually like that series. And it was on sale because I didn't at first, like whenever I saw it, I was like, okay, they keep making these Switch games and they keep taking stuff out of them. So I expected less events. So I was like, let me wait until it goes on sale before I actually get it. Kind of like what's it called? The Wii Sports game that's going to be coming out. The Switch Sports, though, there's not a lot of events in it in this one, so I'm going to be waiting a little bit for it to go on discount before I get it. Other than that, man, nothing much. There's some anime I want to catch back up on. I gotta change my Funimation account to Crunchyroll now because they've been absorbed.
That's official now.
And that's
I heard that the is it Crunchyroll app is complete garbage.
Yes.
Is that right?
In my opinion.
I haven't used the newer years ago. Whenever I started off on Crunchyroll, and I hated it, and then I went to Funimation and loved it because it took me dude, I was troubleshooting Crunchyroll for 10-15 minutes to watch an episode, and I'm like, and then like whenever I think I have it done, as soon as the episode ends, I'd have to run into another issue. It just wouldn't play smoothly.
Yes, that sounds
So
like ass.
that's why I always thought whenever they were, Sony bought both of them, I was like, great, so we can get Crunchyroll stuff on Funimation, and Crunchyroll can just go do its thing. But it went the opposite way, and now I'm getting emails from Crunchyroll that's like, come join us, we'll give you 2 free months, and then you're gonna pay $9 a month. And I was like, you jerks. I was paying $4 for Funimation because of I've been a subscriber for years, so they kept me at that same price, surprisingly.
Yeah, Crunchyroll's app it's far less superior than Funimation.
But apparently there's a beta version of Crunchyroll, so I think they're going to redo all of it. So I think they know that they should at least hopefully they pulled in people from Funimation to help out, and Funimation people came in and they're like, listen, you guys have us now. This ain't gonna work. Like we need to revamp all of this.
Yeah,
So-
Funimation's out like their screens and overlays and all that were just better to me. And I feel like I don't know why. I also feel like the quality on Funimation just looks far better on Funimation than it does on Crunchyroll. But I mean I have both and I'll have both until it's a full merge because I mean I just watch too much anime. But as far as me, as far as me, I've been playing Horizon. I've been really in love in Horizon. I'm getting into that. I've been watching, still on the Oscar run. I just finished the category of best animation. So I just finished watching Raya and the Last Dragon, which I cried, Disney movie, just a normal,
You cried during a Disney movie?
of course. I mean, I cried during all of them. All the three that got nominated this year, I cried in. Luca, Encanto, and Raya. So
You cried in Encanto? Or
yeah, I mean, just it's the whole family thing. It's
Okay.
her
Alright.
getting that. It's it got to me. It got to me.
Yeah.
Alright.
But that was great. And then like I said, I've been playing some Horizon, trying to beat that so I can get into the other games that we've talked about because there's so much that came out last month. And then I heard like Yendi's now on the hunt for a PS5, so we have that going.
Yeah.
For Gran Turismo.
Actually, yeah, for Gran Turismo and Horizon. Horizon more so than Gran Turismo. Mostly because Anna I know will also play Horizon because she beat the first one, and I'm excited to try this one. It's been hurtful hearing you guys talk about it and knowing that I can't play it.
Well,
So
It's hurt us that we can't say as much as we want.
I mean,
to
you can say
about it.
whatever you want between
No,
you two. It's
man.
just
Yeah, but
whenever I
that's not
hear
fair.
or see
And
it,
also,
it's
I'm
like,
pretty sure if you go back on our logs of videos on our YouTube channel, Last Place Fire Team on YouTube,
Mhm.
that how much trash you talk to us about having a PS5.
Yes.
So I don't
There
want to
is
hear
know,
it. Because in the
Via-
beginning, you weren't with it,
you're right,
and a lot of people, and I agreed with you.
and I'm still not with it.
I mean, nobody is, and now
the games are coming.
we're
Well-
getting the benefits of of the seeds we planted.
Yeah.
I mean,
And,
you still had a director's cut console.
You're
I mean,
right.
you rarely
I mean,
have new
honestly, I
games.
didn't even play it for most of the time that I had it.
But
until,
yes, I will buy a PlayStation 5 just for Horizon
but
and Gran Turismo.
that was my goal. Like my goal was for
I-
when these games came out.
I wouldn't be surprised if the new Horizon comes out on Steam not too long from now.
I doubt that.
Gran
it'll be-
Turismo,
it'll
maybe
be a
not.
year and a half or so.
Yeah, but still, that's
You'll have a PS5 by then.
yeah, you're probably right. I mean, it's just hard. It has to be brand new, and it's
He's
hard to
picky.
pay $500-$600 for a used console. For me, it's just ugh.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I get that. Well, let's get into the show. The first topic, let's share since we're all together, we're going to share some of our favorite shared screen games that we used to play, growing up, recent. I know all three of us, and knowing the games that we all like, I'm pretty sure I know a game that we all share in common, and that's just playing Halo on shared screen with a bunch of the boys coming over and playing on the 4 screen and calling people screen hackers. But I'll tell you my first personal experience on shared screen games was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. At least that's the first one that I can remember playing with a bunch of people, and I count that as a shared screen because obviously you were playing on the same console and stuff like that. But that was the first experience I remember playing with someone on the same screen and just like going crazy with those old school co-op games. That Double Dragon. I don't know if you remember Battletoads. Did you ever play Battletoads?
I never
Yeah,
played it, but I've
yeah.
heard of it though.
Double Dragon, Battletoads, and games like that. But I feel like the popular ones that everyone thinks of is always like the Golden Eyes because of screen hacking and like the FPSs. So what are some of your guys' favorite games that you used to play on shared screen?
So going back, I'm gonna start like from early days.
Oh, you made a list.
I didn't make a list.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I'm doing the
He's checking
timestamp
it
right
twice.
now. I'm doing this timestamp. I think my first like share screen experience was Pokemon Stadium, playing the mini games. Those games were fantastic. I wish Pokemon Stadium was one of those things that they could bring along and kind of redo or make a new one. I think it would work out. Playing the Pokemon mini games was so much fun. One of my favorite ones was the counting one, where it's like, oh, here's a whole bunch of Dittos. You need to count, or no, here's a whole bunch of Pikachu. Count the Pikachus, and then you start seeing as it gets harder, like you'll start seeing Pichus running, and you're like, oh, okay, now I gotta pay attention. And then they throw in stuff where it's like, count the B drills. They start going, but then you have, oh, I didn't turn down the TV. Hold on.
Oops.
We're trying to, work out having people talk behind me. This is
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh my God, is this the commercial for?
This is a commercial for Stadium, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
I feel like
I've never seen it.
we need to have this like full time in our show now.
Right?
Man.
Wow. Yeah, dude, that game, I could play that today and be fine. But yeah, my favorite game was the counting game and the chopping. Whenever you chop the logs.
Yeah, Nintendo definitely had a lot of those because of the 64 having the 4 controller slots also. I remember playing Mario Party, Mario Kart was a big one too, just knowing that your friends had it was one of those scary moments when you knew one of your friends had a blue shell and you're just sitting in first place and you're like, damn, I can see the blue shell. I'm in first place. This ain't gonna be good. So it definitely brought like this old element of knowing exactly what was gonna happen to you. Like even when you played a shooter and stuff like that. I just feel like that shared screen will never have that. Like we never get that feeling back because obviously we can never go back to playing on the same screen and seeing those kind of things. But Yendi, what was some of your favorite?
I think the biggest one that stands out the most is definitely Halo 3. That's a game that we would bring our consoles to work over when we worked at Busch Gardens, and we would have literal tournaments during work, during a show. Like when the show was still going on, we'd come backstage, run backstage, play a match or two, pause, and then use the honor system not to come back and unpause and you get a kill. But we got to the point where we had even the dancers at the show playing the games with us because that's how addicting it was to have split screen. And just having the guys come over to the apartment, have some beers, and have 2-3 TVs set up, three different Xboxes, and just playing forever, just losing track of time completely, and just having the time of our lives. I mean, that's like when you say, "Oh, I miss the good old times." That was, for me personally, one of the good old times. Like something you don't think about until much later. I'm like, damn, that's a good time of my life that I would relive at any given moment. And
we should do it. We should try to recreate, like, not System Link. I mean, in today's world, I feel like everybody would just bring over their PCs and just play in the same room.
Yeah.
Which people did with World of Warcraft. They would party up in their rooms and stuff like that. We should try to recreate.
totally do it.
One of my fondest moments of playing World of Warcraft, shout out to the people who I used to play with. They know who they are. But we did a thing where we literally played. We had a table just like this, and it was like 4 of us, 4 or 5, 6. It was like 5 of us, and we all were playing World of Warcraft like together in the same room, like just like talking like that. So like those old school moments. But yeah, that it's definitely that camaraderie you don't get when you play online. Like, yeah, it's fun listening to your friends and stuff like that, but for the people who did used to play on split screens and stuff, we had that, like, like getting mad at the person who was next to you, kind of like, I'm like, whatever you like, asshole, and stuff like that, like, and just being mad at the person next to you, or playing you, like, again, saying like you're playing all these games and you can just have that conversation and then eat like a bunch of pizza and have like a bunch of
beer,
soda, too much sugar, and you're just hyped up. And it's something about those that is definitely you don't get that sense with multiplayer anymore.
Yeah. We have Anna in the chat here. I don't know what this means, but she says, "At least it's counting. I can only remember 25 letters in the alphabet." Is this a joke or what's going on here? What's she talking about? You guys know?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, well, I guess we'll move on unless it's a joke, which I think actually something we didn't mention is with this fancy new thing that Alan got, the Taskmaster here,
which is what we're calling it.
We can have callers now whenever we have a live show. So if you have either one of our numbers and would like to call in,
oh boy,
let us know, and we may get a call tonight. Who knows?
Yeah.
But Anna actually replies. She says, "I don't know why." You don't know why what?
Oh, that's the thing. That's the joke. I don't know why. Yandy's broken. He just got it.
Damn it.
Yeah, but shout out to Tascam for this amazing product that Chris has been eyeing, and we have to convince someone that He needs one.
My wife.
I'm gonna my wife.
Put in the comments. Put in the comments.
Put in the comments. Let him know that Chris needs one.
He doesn't need it, but it'd be nice to have. I mean, what else are you gonna use this for besides this?
I mean, what do you mean? I use this
For
daily.
live streaming,
I
bro.
literally use this
You're
every
really
day.
gonna use all that? For
Yes,
your live
I
stream?
use this
Okay.
every day.
Okay.
I connect my whole system to this so that I can. It's
Where do you
perfect.
find the space for this? You have like a little.
I do have a little like thing. I literally once I
That's
got
a-
this, I made space for it because I just again I use this when we talk on the shows. It makes me allowed to use the XLR, which I obviously prefer. You guys know that. Rather than using the
XLR stands
USB.
for extremely long range.
Okay, that's not what it stands for, but it's okay. You know, Yendi coming up with these fake things that he always does.
Extremely loud range.
Mm.
Yeah, it means you amplify. Anyways, yep.
That's not what it stands for.
Yeah, yeah. Shh, keep going.
but yeah. So I use this every day. So I and plus, I mean, I have this.
Okay.
See
Oh,
that?
and you also have the voice modifiers, right?
Oh
you can
my
make me
goodness,
sound like a little wimp.
We do have the
wanna-
voice
No, we're getting sidetracked here.
We're getting
but,
sidetracked, but that's okay. But
yeah.
you can expect this from our first live show. Like, what did you expect?
Well, that's
That's just the way the cookie crumbles, baby.
Is that my voice?
yeah. People are gonna love that one.
Yeah, they're gonna love that one.
Let me
So,
start with the knee.
this is why this is necessary. But what were you gonna say, Chris?
Get out of chat, Anna. Extremely does not start with an E. It starts with an X.
I was gonna say going on with the games and stuff like that. The Halo Knights, like what you said, are
Listen, nobody look. Let me tell you something. For even people who haven't played World of Warcraft, if you just go back and watch all of these cinematics, you would see how amazing Blizzard is at making these. And this is one of the things that I wish they took from League. Like League of Legends went and said, you know what, let's make a show. I think Blizzard did themselves a disservice by not being the first people to
do
come
it.
with an animated show because like
yeah.
these cinematics, like their cinematic team is literally one of the best that you'll ever find. I mean, like look at this. And this is one of the newer ones, but even their older ones are just these epic tales. I look at Anduin, I don't like him because I'm for the Horde, but anyway, you know, he just said for the Alliance. I could see it in his face. Lady Sylvanas, look at this. You see, I can't watch this because I'm gonna want to play the game. That's the kind of addiction that WoW gets you in. You look at this. You see that?
Maybe I should stop playing World of
Yeah, you
Warcraft.
probably should.
I could, yeah. Anyway, it's still the best game I've ever
I can
played
feel
in
the
my
table
life.
vibrating. Anyway,
It's one of the best games ever, in my opinion. Back in the day.
it's kind of weird though with the shared screen games that like now whenever you get games like It Takes Two,
Mm-hmm.
that people are like, whoa, this is amazing. Like we're playing together on the same screen. Like, you know, if people forgot that that's what it was.
Yeah.
You just used to be at each other's house. You wouldn't have to. I remember getting games like, when I was younger, I was only allowed to get one game a year because we lived in a time where parents thought video games were melting your brain and doing all
I
that
don't
stuff.
even
You get
wanna
one
get
game a
into
year.
that
I'm not buying. I'm
conversation.
not getting all this stuff for you. You're gonna get one game. Cool. Well, Chris will get this game. We'll go to his house and play, or he can bring it over and we'll play here. And I'll get this game so that way we can play it when we'll all trade.
Yeah.
Trading games was a big part of my life.
Oh yeah.
All the time. Let me borrow that.
Yep.
All right. Hey man, when can I get that back? Oh, okay. I'll get it back to you Friday. And then you're just like, I'm speed running through games to try to beat them. But yeah, I do miss those moments waking up on Saturday mornings, calling, hey man, can you hang out? Yeah. All right, I'm on my way. And then I'd come over with a little knapsack.
Yeah.
Stuff, my controller, everything. Right, I'm ready to go, ready to play. Another game that I'm trying to think of was one of my favorites was Star Wars Battlefront 2.
My god.
On PlayStation 2.
Yes. Yes.
And me and my buddy Anthony actually,
Because you could do the story mode. In
Yeah.
that one.
but we didn't do the story mode. We would play. It would always be the ship battle. I always found the ship like the fact that it wasn't just you doing dog fights in space, right? Fighting each other. You would fly and land at the opponent's ship, and you'd have to go in. You have to destroy the engine. You have to destroy the
Yep.
communications. You'd have to,
Mhm.
and they also they could fix it. So I thought that was like extremely like it blew my mind doing that all the time. So we used to play that mode all the time, and then they tried to remake it, and it just didn't work out. And I was like, man,
it's because it's one of those things that when you play a game, especially like games back in the day, like it was so minimal. Like our brains just function different. We would see things like that, and it would be so much better back in the day because it's like, yo, like I can't believe I'm doing that, and now we just expect so much more from games because we expect more of the detail and stuff like that. But Battlefront 2, I remember being a game that like another game that I played split screen, and you could do the campaigns together. And I remember being able to do the campaign together, and then anytime you guys got like a multiple of kills, you got to get a Jedi, and like you could have 2 Jedis together. Like that game was amazing, and it just never went back to that glory, unfortunately. But I would play that game if it had updated graphics, the exact way that it was, but it needed to be like just with the graphics that we got.
They used to do so much, man. Because I remember also another mode. You would do the Jedi only mode, and you could pick the songs that you wanted to play. Like you would, so we'd make a playlist of all the Star Wars songs. Mostly it was the Cantina song.
Yeah,
and you had all these Jedi fighting each other, and they're just like you just see everybody getting mowed down with lightsaber. Oh, it was great. It was perfect. It was one of the best times for me.
Yeah,
I loved it a lot. And then obviously, Mario Party was also high up there for me. I played to this day. It's never been the same since GameCube, but
I mean Mario Party. I think with the right people, Mario Party is always great because I think you can play that. I know some people who still play like Mario Party at like work and stuff. I ain't gonna out people out, but I know some people who do it and they play like Mario Kart and they have a good time like playing Mario Kart together on stuff. And I mean, obviously you have games like Smash Brothers too. I mean, Smash Brothers period playing that was like a good old party.
That was a big one
game
at work as well.
Yeah,
Gordy Harbor. The music writer won a big award for that game. Andrew is in the chat. What's up, man?
Hey. So yeah, we had some good time. I mean, there were some good times with those games, man. Shared screen games is one of those things that, we probably won't ever get that same satisfaction, even though we did talk about it for Halo. Infinite is one of the reasons why this became a topic for us today, besides us being...
Oh yeah, they're bringing it back, right?
But they're bringing that back, which I think is interesting because I think there is like, it might be a minimal market, but there's definitely like brothers and sisters and siblings who play games together and still live in the same house that just have one console. So I definitely think, and plus I remember Halo always allowed you to play online with the shared screen too.
Is that right?
Yeah, because remember you could always
we would play. I remember going to my buddy Brandon's house, and this is dumb. So my buddy Brandon lived across the street from my buddy John, right? I'd go to Brandon's house, my buddy Giovanni would go to his house. Right, and we would do 2v2s like instead of system link, right? Because we didn't have the system link. He's playing on his internet at John's house. I'm playing on Brandon's internet. So we're both. It's 2v2s. Me and Brandon are on a team on his house. Yeah, and they're on his. And I remember we played his older brother. His older brother used to get so annoyed and would come in, beat up on Brandon, what brothers do. Bro, it got intense. It's just how it was. Yeah. It's just how it was. Like you would do the most, you could find the most annoying thing. I remember trying to in Halo 2, I forgot what, I think it's Ascension. Game would start and we were racing because we knew all the super jumps. Yeah. Right? We were racing to get there, crouching underneath the corner for 10 seconds. Run, you had to go up, you had to jump on a crack that's on the ground, and then you super bounce above the map, and then you just snipe everybody. That's what you used to get beat up for. Yeah. People were like, come on, man.
Yeah. There was definitely games, especially like fighting games, where me and my cousins would play, and that was like, we would legit get into fist fights about games, about just playing video games and being in the same. We used to do like tournaments before there was tournament modes. Like we used to play like Street Fighter tournaments, and we would have our own little brackets. Like we would make legit like this person's playing this person and then move on. Like we used to do so many of those, and it, like I said, it just having that, like, I love that we're able to play multiplayer like through the internet, but there is something that will always be missed about playing in the same room. I mean, even now we're experiencing this.
You can see the person's frustration when you're beating their ass.
Yeah. It's a joy. It brings in a little
Yes, yes.
extra joy.
It makes it so much better knowing that you're good. Or it could be the complete opposite and you're getting destroyed and you hate this game. You never want to play it.
Yeah.
That happened to me sometimes too.
Do you have a core memory of making somebody upset?
Yes.
Like, do you have a
I
specific?
mean, all the
one?
time, really. There's not one specific moment, but like people just slamming controllers down, walking off. Like you can't be mad when you get outskilled in a game like
if
Halo,
Black
where
Magic
everything
was
is the
in here,
same.
he could tell you stories.
Yeah,
like
bro.
we had legit stories where because it was full. I mean, it was almost it was a lot of like boys at the time because we had my aunts who had 2 boys, and then my other aunt had 4, and like then we had Black Magic, and then like it was like 6 of us just in the house, just like playing video games, like whether it was Madden, fighting games, like wrestling games, like any of those, and we would just be like, and I remember our aunts used to get like. Our aunts and our moms used to get so mad because we would be so angry, and we would just start like yelling at each other. So like I remember, like there's fond memories of it happening both ways, where I was getting yelled at because like they would be like, "Oh, you're cheating, you're doing the same moves," and then I'm just like, "Well, if it's working, stop it." Like, you know what I mean? And then the same thing would happen to me, and then I'm calling people cheaters and stuff like that. So
You get heated. It's passion,
heated,
man.
And
you know?
but it's also because, like Yendi said, though, you could see the person,
Yeah.
and you could see the joy of them kicking your ass. So you're just looking at them and you're seething because you're like, you're right there, and you just want to get into a physical altercation with them.
It's not really split screen, but Madden was another one that
Madden's a
really
big
did
one.
it
I was
for
about
me.
to say
Oh
it was.
my god!
Madden, I was a god in Madden.
I sucked at a lot of games. Like, I wouldn't come in last. I would come in last every once in a while, first every once in a while. But there, one game I was good at, back in the day was FIFA. Right, I was a good FIFA player in the 2005 realm of it when it was very buggy and stuff like that. So shout out to Ross. He would probably never admit to this. I made him break his PS2 controller because I would take my goalie, and it wasn't a hack. It was just a bug.
You had an exploit that you used.
Yes, and you
Gotcha.
would run the goalie midfield, and you could shoot the ball from from the midfield and make it into the goal. It would when your goalie comes out, it would force the opponent's goalie to come out a little bit. So you just it just sail. You see the goalie,
Dang.
like miss it, and it would go in. And I was bro, it was like 6 to something.
Yeah.
Well, I was getting ridiculous. Numbers you don't really see in soccer.
Right.
And man, I'll never forget. He's like, what?
Yeah. You Pete, like, listen, man. People love that shit.
I was crying. I would laugh.
When you start losing bad, it'll frustrate you for sure.
Yeah.
And like I said, I do think having even whether it's good emotion or bad emotion, just having the people in the same room with you definitely changes the dynamic, because you can't, like, you can see the person, and you also try to hide that frustration because you don't want them to know that they're getting to you, and like you're just trying to hide that frustration.
Yendi's a prime example, man.
Just
when we
gets
play
bottled
Valorant together, he just mutes himself.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
And then he's like, after we're done, boop. Hey man, I think we're gonna get out.
That's exactly how
All
it
right,
is.
bro. Talk to you
I
later.
realized that I complain so much that I annoy myself, so I just mute myself, because when I get heated in that game, I swear, man, it's just I don't know why I still have that game installed, but there's just something about certain games that you just can't stop playing.
You're chasing,
you
you're
can't
for that
stop.
first feeling.
You're
the first-
chasing the
Exactly,
Yeah,
and
because we tried to play, and we played recently, and we won. We
Yeah.
did very well. Me and him both were, top 2 in the leaderboards and stuff like that. We were doing well. We weren't dying a lot. But there was kids like moaning into the mic, doing stupid stuff, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, then there goes that. And it just kind of like
what it is whenever a new game comes out, you have a chance.
Yeah.
Right? People don't know the maps, people don't know the weapons. If it's a shooter, everything's fresh, so everybody stands an equal chance at being good. And that's exactly what it was with Valorant. So yeah, like Chris said, that's exactly what I've been chasing. It's just I had so much fun those first few, like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 games of Valorant, if that I even played that many, but it's such a good game when everything is seemingly fair. Sometimes my shots are off and it's 100% me. Other times I can't explain some of the stuff I see, but it's just, chasing that high. And as I've gotten older, my reflexes, I've noticed, aren't as quick anymore. They're not what they used to be. Like, I used to be pretty decent with my reflexes, but now
It's also the amount of game you don't play as much too.
That too. I mean, I have maybe 2-3 days to play when I used to play like every single day.
Yeah.
But
then,
yeah, man, it's one of the downsides of getting older, right? You got to pick your games wisely. That's why I don't spend any time on a game that frustrates me anymore, as long as I can help it. And I feel like that's getting less and less as I get older as well. I pick games that only bring me quick satisfaction. I know it sucks. Uh, if I was my past self listening to me right now, I'd be like, "You stupid idiot," and
Nah, man, I'm always gonna be down to go against 12-year-old Timmy and yell at him and tell him to tell his mom to return the game
Oh
for him.
boy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just want to be
And-
the soul
and
crusher,
until I mean, they got me in anything with building or cranking 90s or whatever. You got me.
huh? Yeah.
You win. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's you.
Yeah, that Fortnite skill set is a completely different one. I
Yeah,
watch
it
some
is.
people play Fortnite and I'm like, dude, no, my brain is not moving that fast to be building that fast.
yeah, man.
Bro, I
And,
remember
like-
watching the first like Fortnite or the Fortnite
Like the open
Invitational.
thing, yeah, it's crazy.
And they were showing player screens, and I was like, I can't. I have
can't
no.
see
They
it.
had to zoom out. Whenever they zoomed out, and I saw them building,
Yeah.
I was like, this makes sense. But as soon as they picked a specific
yeah,
player view, I was like, I don't know what you're
Yeah.
doing anymore.
yeah.
It looks like your game's glitched.
It's
think it's
crazy.
nuts.
It's just some games like that game in particular. The move sets are just they move so quick to build those blocks, and I'm just like, I can't. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm already trying to focus on trying to shoot you. Now I've got to
Exactly.
focus on trying to get on the same level with you. And
Uh-huh.
I mean, I respect the people who play Fortnite because it does take a lot of skill set. I just ain't.
Just
It's
to get two
not
shots
for
in.
me.
I wonder if it's easier on controller than it is mouse and keyboard
I don't
to
know.
build and shoot. Because I know on PC I can barely do WASD.
But
and,
I know a lot of
and
people
aim at the
who-
same time.
But the movement on PC, you're always gonna have a movement advantage on PC.
Bro, there was
Right,
people
right, right.
using like I remember watching videos, and they're like, yeah, I put
Middle mouse.
I put down scroll as my my wall and up scroll as my floor, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And they're like,
and some people
they're-
just use the middle
yeah,
mouse.
they're
It's-
just
yeah.
scrolling.
Well, because I know, like, for certain, like, that's why I would always say, like, for PC games, like, it's having mouse and keyboard, your movement is always going to be, like, top tier because it's just so, you have so much more options. So you can use your mouse wheel. Because I remember in WoW, for me, I would use my mouse wheel to target other people. So if I needed to target something else, I would just go up on the mouse wheel and I'm already looking at something else. So, and I feel like that's the case for many other games, even Final Fantasy, which was played on PlayStation, like on a controller, and I know it was designed for that. Your movement is just so much better on a keyboard and mouse. That's
Yeah.
just what it is. And and that's why they need like aim assist and stuff like that, because they can't move with you. Like, especially in Apex. Apex is one of the games that is like notable because you can slide and move around. Like it's ridiculous.
For some reason, I thought Apex was only PC.
No, sir.
I realized I played it on Xbox
Yes.
first.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all over. It's a great one. But all right, let's get into IGN has come up
Yes.
with a list of open world games. I'm going to read out that list to you real quick because ours is different. So we're going to share what we think our list is. We're only going to take the games that are on this list.
Yep.
So I don't come at us saying, this game should be on there. We're only rearranging
Yep.
the game that's on here and again, I don't know much of the backstory of this list. I don't know if they were doing like a certain time frame or whatever, because these all look like
This-
modern games.
These are usually polls that they do, and they get like thousands of people who do the poll. So this could be what this is.
Yeah, it could be, but I don't know what the list, like what it's from, or if it's like the time range, because these all look modern. Besides, I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
Skyrim,
yeah.
that's had
Skyrim and
10 different.
Metal Gear Solid 5 is kind of old
Yeah.
too.
But I'm gonna go over the list. So at number 10, they've got Spider-Man Miles Morales. At number 9, they got Forbidden West. They've got number 8 is Metal Gear. They've got Skyrim at 7. They got Fallout New Vegas, which another game, like I said, the time frame
Oh, yeah,
doesn't
that's-
make any sense. And then Elden Ring at 5, which just came out. Number 4, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 3 is Grand Theft Auto 5, and then you got 2 Witcher, and then number 1 Breath of the Wild. Yendi brought this to our attention, and then was like, "Hey, let's make a rearranged list, and let's go ahead and start with that." So before we're gonna get in there, the faces are already being made. Chris looks like he's chose violence.
He has.
So
I can tell already.
So let's all go over our number 10s before we move on, and then we'll just talk about our number 10s, and then we'll do it like that. So number 10, I got Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I'll tell you, not that, and this by any means doesn't mean that any of these games are bad. This is just the list that I feel for open world. The only reason why I think Miles Morales should not be like, especially, which is why I would like to know the time frame, because you see New Vegas on there and it kind of doesn't make sense. But Spider-Man Miles Morales, I just feel like Spider-Man, the first one, was just a better open world game. It was just a better game in general. So that's why I have it at number 10, because I feel like it shouldn't even be on the list. Now, granted, it is on the list, but I just feel like the predecessor of it, not the predecessor, what's the one that called before? Predecessor of it was just a better game. And I feel like that's the one that should have been on the list and not Miles Morales. So I would like to know what the time frame was, or what was their guidelines in picking this, because I definitely feel like Spider-Man 1, that game was just better than Miles Morales. So that's my number 10.
Yeah.
Chris, what you got?
Number 10 is also Spider-Man Miles Morales. The way I looked at it was best open world games. Like, what can I do in this world, right? So anybody can make an open world game, but how much can I actually do in it? And what does the world have to offer me? So in that game, the swinging is beautiful.
Yeah,
the crimes
in that game is
the crimes that popped up were great and fun. But after you beat the game, and you're swinging around, all you have to do is fight crime. There's not really much interaction with the citizens in the city and stuff like that. So after that, when you finish the game, in the post game, there's not that much to do. So in my opinion, like I said, though, swinging through New York, awesome, was a lot of fun, enjoyed it, loved the story, loved the crime fighting. But yeah, it's at number 10 for me compared to what's on this list.
Yeah.
And Yandy, what about you? What do you got?
Actually, mine is Skyrim. I'm just kidding. Mine is also Spider-Man, only because I haven't played it. So I feel like I can't justify put it higher or lower. So just because I haven't played it, that's why it's number 10.
All right,
simple.
Hit us with your 9 while you're at it.
Number 9 is also kind of the same thing as Elden Ring for me, because even though I did play it for a few minutes,
30 minutes in the car.
Yeah, maybe 30 minutes
creation.
total. Right, an hour total, 30 minutes creating my character, maybe 30 minutes seeing the world.
Yeah.
So I can't talk too much about it. But personally, when it comes to open world, I like more fantasy. I mean, not saying that Elden Ring is not fantasy, but like bright, colorful, cheerful fantasy world that is relaxing. Is like I see crazy stuff. Just something that's not trying to kill me all the time. And based off of my literally the minute I came out into the open world, I died. So I don't. In my definition, that's not the type of open world that I like. But I haven't seen all of it, so I can't judge the rest of the game on that, and that's why I have mine at number 9. Oh, we have.
Whoa! Is there a caller coming?
We have
in?
a caller. Let me answer this real quick.
Hold on.
Okay, hold on.
What is going on in here? We have a special guest.
Hello.
Hey, there you go. You're through, caller. Who is this?
Hi. I would like to be unnamed.
Okay,
Oh.
you can be unnamed. Go ahead. Would you like to ask a question or say a comment?
No. You guys were talking about how something was making people upset. Games and stuff were making people upset, and I had a story. It's kind of off topic.
Okay, go ahead.
But I thought I found it interesting, and I thought that maybe you guys would too. So I was at a restaurant. Earlier. Whew, I'm nervous.
Okay.
And I saw the most unseemingly couple sitting together. So a dog and sheep were having dinner,
Oh.
and I overheard what appeared to sound like a fight. I'm not sure what it was about or what happened. But I heard the dog say, "What do you mean I'm too controlling?" And the sheep looked at him with the devil in her eyes and said, "You heard me."
Is that it? Did she hang up? Well, I guess that's it. Thank you to our very first ever call in. Thank you, unnamed source. We appreciate it. Thank you for the story. It was very moving. We enjoyed it very much. So, applause. Okay, we were saying.
I mean, you got to give it a double clap. You know what I mean? You got to give it a standing O.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for calling in.
It's how fast she hung up.
I know. She said, "Heard."
Is the refrigerator running? You should go after it.
refunding refrigerator. Dang it!
I like the whoo. I'm nervous.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
But we were talking about Yandy was talking about Elden Ring.
Yes.
and
Number 9.
I'm gonna go ahead and move with that. My number 9 because it's the same thing and for the same reason. I'm really excited to play Elden Ring. At the moment, I haven't played it yet, so I'm not gonna rank it above every other game on here that I played. The only reason why it's above Spider-Man for me is because, like I said, I feel like the other Spider-Man should have been on here. So with that being said, I haven't played Elden Ring, so I can't rank it fairly compared to the other games here, the other 8 games that I played here. So that's going to be my number 9 for right now. How about you, Chris? What do you got?
My number 9 is Metal Gear Solid. I have not really played that one because of the opening cinematic.
It's definitely weird. It's very strange.
I gotta try it, man. Because another one I want to try is Death Stranding. Like, those games, I never really give them a fair chance, and it's because I go in and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, and then I dip out. But I know the beginning of that game was just very long.
Well, that and 4, Metal Gear 4 were really long cinematic games.
Yeah.
In general, I remember
Which is crazy because usually as a kid, I'm like, I'm fighting through to see the next clip.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I
And
feel
the
like
stories
you
were
were
definitely
very
different.
close to getting out to the open world
Yeah.
in Metal Gear
And seeing what it was.
Because when I was in that hallway scene, I'm like, what the hell's going on here? But what's his name? What's the game director's name that makes those?
Kojima.
He's a weird man. He makes strange ass games, but people love him. And that intro made no sense whatsoever, and that's the reason why I haven't played Death Stranding. I have no desire to.
You either love it or hate it.
Yeah,
That's what I heard.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's a shame because the open world in there is actually really good. I feel like it's really cool the stuff that you're able to do, like especially the whole the balloon system where you can knock somebody out and put a balloon on them and it takes them to your base.
They actually got that from the Metal Gear for PSP.
Yeah.
That was in Liberty's.
You can do vehicles, you can do people, you can do animals.
They took a lot of that from like Metal Gear, the mobile one, which was like a big hit on PSP. But going on with Metal Gear, I mean, it is like that. I never really gave Metal Gear like I beat it because I've beaten all the Metal Gears. It's one of my favorite franchises. Metal Gear 5 always has that deep taste in my mouth only because they did not use David Hayter, which is the original voice of Snake. And I was so upset with them because I remember him tweeting it out. And I remember meeting him at a MegaCon and him being like legit sad that he because people were bringing up all this Solid Snake memorabilia and stuff like that. And he was just like, they're like people asking him about being on Metal Gear and not being in Metal Gear 5, and he was just like legit, like they didn't even call me or let me know or any of that stuff. And
it sounds like it was Konami.
Yeah, and they
were up to shady stuff before.
And it's sad because that voice is so memorable for me. Like, because Metal Gear 1 is like one of my top games of all time. Like that game, I can literally cite that game from the beginning to the end, like word for word. That's how much I played that game. So, but going into that's your 9, right, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'll just go ahead and say that's my 8 because, like I said, I never really did go in there giving that game a fair try. I did enjoy a lot of the systems that they did in that game, but I just felt like that story was just a little disjointed. The open world was a nice touch to it, but those are one of those games where I feel like the linearness actually works better, like having a mission where you're constantly going to the next thing opposed to having all that free realm. So I feel like for me, I would have preferred if Metal Gear 5 was more like the 4 games before it. So I definitely thought the 5 and it being open world was a little bit different and a little bit too much, I think, for the franchise in my opinion. So that's my number 8. Yandy, what do you have at 8?
My number 8 is similar to number 9. I never actually played New Vegas. I attempted once. I actually played a little bit more of 3 than I did New Vegas, but I don't remember much of it, if anything at all. So I don't know what to tell you about the world. I like the Fallout universe, and I like Fallout 4 a lot in that world, but
that's interesting because that's one that a lot of people don't like, actually.
The world of Fallout 4?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's because you never played the other ones.
That's true. That was my very first Fallout
And
that I
of course
actually
he's gonna
played.
think like, oh, this is fantastic.
all the way through.
And I'm interested to see if you were to go back, because you don't build any other ones.
Yeah.
So
Fallout
like if they take that aspect away, would it be a game that's
I actually
like,
barely built.
did you?
Yeah, I actually liked well, okay, I liked the story up until the very end.
Mhm.
It got a little silly at the end. I was like, okay, but I liked my experiences with the game. I liked the world being in Boston. It was really cool to see like what it would look like in the apocalypse and stuff like that.
That's why that was my appeal to the game, because that's
Boston,
that's
yeah.
home for me.
Mhm.
So I was very interested to see, but as soon as I saw, like, you get into Fenway Park and stuff like that, I was
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I think it before I played this game, I read up on the entire lore of the series. I watched a YouTube video that was like over an hour that explained all the games, and then went into very detailed
Mhm.
explanation of the lore. So it really captured me. So I was kind of, in a way, more uh involved with the game itself, the world, even though it wasn't a previous location before, but I knew about the previous games from this YouTube video, and I was just more into it and more into the world. I think if I didn't see that, I'd be like, oh, this game sucks. But knowing the lore behind like the factions and stuff and the vaults and what they're for and what happened and all that is really cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I wish that they would remake a lot of these games again or remaster, because I still have a thing with older games, the way they look. I can't even play my favorite game anymore, Morrowind,
Morrowind.
because it's just it,
Yeah, it's a
it's
rough
just
one.
yeah, the textures are
It's bad.
yeah, they hurt. But I would play New Vegas if they remastered it, and I think that would be a money printer right there.
There are some PC mods that you could play New Vegas.
Yeah, see, I don't want to have to do mods.
Well,
I need it
listen, it's there
start
for
up
you.
and go, you know. But yeah,
There for you.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, number 8, Fallout New Vegas for me.
Yeah. And then Chris, what do you at 8?
Number 8, I have GTA.
And the Tarnation. The fuck?
Yeah, I have GTA. Yeah. So, GTA I have fun with, right? Robbing banks, stuff like that. Again, post game, after a while, that's a game that I can play like an hour or two by myself. Like, I can drive around, do whatever I want by myself. Online, if they say GTA Online, I'm gonna consider that a whole different category. I can play hours
See,
on that. There's a lot of stuff to do.
That's how I considered it. I considered GTA being GTA Online as well.
Okay, I did not.
Yeah.
I took it as GTA. I'm playing it after I finish. Like I'm really looking at into like, if I'm by myself and I boot up this game, how much am I going to be able to do? Because the rest of these games are all solo games. You know,
Yeah.
it's not multiplayer. Of
Well,
course,
Red Dead Redemption.
Already, yeah, it's online. I didn't play that one online actually,
No,
but
it's 'cause it started off.
but Grand Theft Auto Online is a lot of fun. There's
So
a
did
lot of funny
GTA.
moments. There's people that make races, and that's what's like the races, the team deathmatch, all that stuff made it fun and enjoyable. And there was a lot of stuff to do in that town. Without that, though, it's kind of plain. You're driving through the city, which is fun. You get to do, I mean, I had my fair share of like, how long can I survive at 4 or 5 stars, whatever the top star was.
Yeah.
Can I get into the military base? Can I do the, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So, but other than that, yeah, it's as of open world, not a lot for me to do in, and yeah, so I put it as my
Not a lot
number
doing.
8.
You
I mean, I disagree, but I'll talk
Yeah,
about my
okay.
GTA experience when we get there. So, Chris, hit us with your 7 while you're at it.
Number 7, I put Elden Ring.
Okay.
I have not started it yet, but I've watched quite a few. I'm trying not to, but I've been seeing clips and clips and clips
The
of
good
it.
thing about that is that there's not enough story to you really wouldn't be spoiled, but besides like seeing bosses, which is the good thing about being able to watch like the FromSoft games, because you don't necessarily lose story unless people are doing like a legacy or story run. So you could just watch someone do a boss, and that doesn't mean you have to fight the boss the same time they do. You could fight the boss at any time and see if you can win it or
Yeah.
whatever. So I don't think like watching that game is as bad as watching some others.
It was just cool to see what was in that world, the different dungeons and stuff like that. It would probably be, to be honest, I think for all of us, it would probably be up there on the list
Mhm.
when we play it. But from what I've seen so far, it looks like there's a lot of in depth. The fact that there's so many people willing to put 95 hours into this
Already.
game so far, and nobody's dropped off yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It says something about that. So I'm excited to get into it. I'm going to try my hardest to learn the game before I get out of it, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that is my
That's
number 7. Yes.
I'll go into my number 7. My number 7 is Horizon, only because It's simply because I haven't played the game enough. Compared to the next
What?
6 games that we're about to list, I've played those games far more than I've played Horizon. And that's not a knock against Horizon, like I've said. Horizon, I think,
Oh
is
shoot! You know what? I'm an idiot.
oh well, he
I
messed.
thought this was the
with her-
first game.
See, that's the problem. See, you weren't paying attention. So Horizon 2 is there for me only because I haven't played enough of the game yet. So compared to the 6 games that are in front of it,
Well.
I've played them far more. I can tell you this: everything that I've played in Horizon 2, I have enjoyed thoroughly. I thought the everything is great in there. The way that you have to fast travel, the little cities, all that stuff. Getting your new
They put a lot of fast travel
yeah,
points.
a lot
in
of
this one.
fast travel because of the campfires, which helps a lot. And then but I mean, the game is also huge. So like the campfires are very much
Yeah.
necessary. And then you have like, the different little towns that have like different stories and different settlements and stuff like that. I think these next games that we get into are the ones that I can really talk about, like the depth and stuff. I just haven't had enough time with Horizon comparative to the next 6 games that we're going to talk about. So Yendi, are you still looking for your 7 or
actually,
you want me to?
Yeah. I'm actually gonna put her Horizon Forbidden West at number
8?
number 8
Okay.
for me. And my number 7 is Metal Gear Solid 5.
Okay.
To put it simply, it was a cool world. But the reason it's so low is because it was a little drab. I need a little bit more color, more scenery. The mechanics were cool, but that's not a world I would willingly want to spend time in. I'd rather choose something else on this list.
Okay. Hit us with your 6 while you're at it.
Number 6 is Breath of the Wild. Beautiful world. It's actually the opposite of Metal Gear. For me, Breath of the Wild was very beautiful, very vibrant, fun, but it was too empty. And for me personally, there's not too much to do. And it's just it reminds me of Arceus a lot. Obviously, Arceus got a lot of inspiration from this game. I wouldn't be surprised if using the same engine, but it's empty. It's empty for me. I love Zelda. That's the only thing that carried it. It was the lineage that it had. But yep, number 6 for me.
Yeah, and I'm gonna agree with you too on that. I have it at 6 also, only for the simple fact that it's an ambitious game. I love what they did with it. I love the premise, and I can see that I do think it's a more depth than Arceus is, but I do feel like there's some things in that game where it does feel like there's some spread out time where you're just like, there's nothing really in this world. And especially when you're trying to get to like dungeons and stuff like that, it's not like you go through some dead points in the game.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not by design, which is like the difference between, because comparative to a game like New Vegas, where you're in a post-apocalyptic world, and even though you still have different enemies and stuff running at you, and like, like death claws and all that stuff are like in that world, so you never really feel safe. But in Breath of the Wild, there's definitely moments where you're just like, well, there's just nothing here. And I felt like that definitely had a lot of moments in that game while you were getting to like temples and stuff like that. So
What I think Breath of the Wild, the world does best out of any of these games is how other environments interact with one each other. Like how a lightning strike can burn a field of grass and then you can get hurt by it, or like how physics works in the game, using how you use the wind. That was cool. The mechanics were really cool. It was just kind of devoid, and that I think that you could see that because of how you have like a horse and how you have other traversal methods like the glider and stuff, because they know they're big open patches of emptiness that you have to get through quickly. Because if you didn't have a horse or a glider,
yeah,
you would be forever. It would be a walking simulator, and I don't think many people can disagree with that.
yeah.
I mean,
that's that's just how I feel. I agree with everything you're saying on there. So Chris, we know you obviously don't have the same number 6 as us.
his number 6 is Skyrim.
It's gonna be something that gets us.
Yeah, that's what it is. Go ahead, Chris.
My number 6 is is The Witcher. Hold on. That's only because I didn't play it all the way through. That's the only reason. So
See, I didn't play it all the way through either.
I only got to the Griffin, wherever that is. That's the first boss you fight.
Yeah.
I I didn't play all the
I
way
think you
through,
played
but
more
Which
than
I don't
he
even
has.
think. Which I don't even
You
think you're
didn't
in the open world
did
yet.
you even get to the big city? I forgot what it's called. Novigrad.
No, Novigrad.
Oh my God.
Well, because at the time,
Oh,
whenever
you
I
have
bought
to
the,
fight
I bought the
Griffin before
game.
you get to there.
That was my first ever. Actually,
Yeah.
that funny enough, when I built my PC for my first PC, right? That was the first game I bought for it because it came out and everybody's like, "This is great" and blah blah blah. But on Steam, it had a lot of that game had a lot of bugs
Oh yeah.
starting out,
Mhm.
so it didn't play as smooth as I wanted it to. So I played the
Mm.
cat. Oh my god. Okay, well that's for you, Andy. And
I play
it-
the cavalcade. Hey, you watch your dirty mouth.
but I didn't play enough of it, so I just kind of fell off of it there. And at the time, I was huge into Call of Duty, and I think Advanced Warfare was out, and like that's when I found the esports scene. Also, like I was just getting into esports, and it was just an obsession over there. So don't push that button, man.
I'm pushing the
Shame.
Shame.
Oh,
Shame.
God.
The real reason I'm pushing the button is because he still hasn't played much of Witcher 3.
Yeah,
Well,
As
I'm
he's
waiting for
had
my
a lot
Steam
of
Deck now.
time to play it, and now he hasn't.
that's doing yourself a
But
disservice.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
putting it on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
That's
There's
like
so
that's like trying to
much-
play Crisis on a Switch.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen,
You just don't appreciate the world as much, man.
listen. All right,
You
We're
get-
listening.
this game is huge.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
We have so many games to play. I don't want to hear it, man. It's just like whenever people recommend me TV shows. I have my own agenda that I need to
Yeah.
get through. We're at a time in our lives where I appreciate games. Did I miss out? Yes. Have I seen
Hmm.
friggin' what's his name? Henry Cavill talk about this game and now he's beaten it three times and I'm like, Jesus, I really missed out? Yes. But I do not have, maybe in the future, I might sit down and be like, you know what, I should really try this game since it's in my library.
That's fair.
You know,
that's,
but
that's the thing. It'll always look good.
In
If,
the library.
yeah, we're at a
If
time where you
you
got
play
we
it on
can't
PC.
get on to people about like you haven't played this game yet. Well, it's going like we
I mean,
you know-
I think we all have one.
exactly.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I want
At
you to
this
play
point-
Dead Space. There's
Well, here's the thing.
I mean,
Dead
I
Space
haven't
is not
played
my
both
type of game.
Sekiro. I honestly, or
Yeah.
not Sekiro. Ghost of Tsushima. I
haven't
honestly
either.
don't think you're gonna get into it because if you do, like it's just so far. It's like
No,
that
no,
moment.
I'm playing
is-
that game. Here's the thing. I know when I get into that game, it's my life because I've always wanted the game.
Well, you'll
I
finish
think-
it quickly. It's not as long as you
Yeah.
think it
The
is.
thing is with that game, what happened was it was that wave that everyone went on to. And then I was like, man, this is a game and I'm happy for that game because I wanted it to be great and everyone to enjoy it. But then I think just hearing everyone breeze through
Yeah.
it and stuff kind of took a
Turns
little
you
bit
off
of
of it,
energy
yeah.
off of me. And then I was playing something else. And then,
Yeah.
but I will definitely get to that game. But let's go ahead and get your number 5. We're
My number
cracking the top 5
5
now.
Is what did I put? Red Dead Redemption.
I think I have
Hold
Melissa.
on, let me make sure. Let me make sure if I did that right.
I'm gonna.
Did I say Horizon was
Whoa,
8
whoa,
or
whoa,
9?
whoa,
said,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
You
whoa.
said Horizon. You had Horizon at 8 because it's part 2. So
What did I just say?
you
I said
said
Red Dead. No,
5.
Fallout New Vegas.
Okay, New
Fallout New
Vegas
Vegas,
is your
yes.
okay.
Yeah, New Vegas is going to be my number 5. That game was awesome. There was a lot of stuff to do. In between traveling to cities, though, I wanted to be in those games. I wanted to be more in the cities than anything. Like I wanted to stay. I didn't really like traveling out into the wasteland and finding things. I was like, I just want to get in around the city. I want to be through the city. I just want to be here. And because every time I went out, it just felt annoying. It was just facing hordes and hordes of different things and mutants and stuff like that.
That's
I'm
what I
like,
liked
"All right."
about it though, because it felt like you were always in danger. It's also my number 5, but the thing that I loved about New Vegas was that the fact that you were never safe out there. So for us, which is a world everyone was telling you about the dangers of being outside, I felt like that game expressed those dangers about being outside, which is where the difference lies between that and Breath of the Wild, which I was talking about earlier, where I felt like the danger was always ahead in New Vegas. So there was always something to be wary about when you were going to the next city, opposed to where with Zelda it was kind of like, well, you're just taking this horse and you're traveling this boring road, and you did everything walking in New Vegas. So for me, anytime you went there, it was like, man, I had to make sure I had all my weapons. I had to make sure everything was reloaded. I had enough ammunition just in case I ran into something. And I think that's what an open world should be. I feel like you shouldn't have a bunch of dead space or dead time while you're traveling to the next location. I feel like there should be missions. There should be someone crying for help. You know what I mean? And I feel like
So Witcher 3.
Well, I mean, you already know where Witcher 3 is for me, but I'm just saying there's always something to do while you were traveling, right? And I felt like New Vegas starting on this was one of those games that you were constantly doing something, or something was constantly, whether it was rad roaches or whatever it was in that world, I felt like something was ready to attack you. And that's what I want in an open world. So go ahead with your number 5, Indy.
Just shift up the list here, but my number 5 is GTA 5.
Okay.
GTA 5, I love the world. I've always wanted to go over to Los Angeles, and this is the closest I've been able to get. And it was crazy because when you compare it to like YouTube videos side by side of the game and then Los Angeles, it's like almost 1-to-1. It's crazy how close it is. So to me, I'm escaping to a different place. I don't travel much, so when I get to go in it in a game and it's a real place, it's really cool to be in that world. And then it's just so detailed, especially at the time when it first came out.
Oh yeah,
right. Not so much anymore.
'Cause remember, this is the third. The third generation.
I mean, it blew my mind once I got it on PC.
Mhm.
But when I first played on the Xbox 360,
Yes.
it was amazing that I had all this area to explore. I love exploring. I think that's everybody's biggest thing in open worlds. One of the things is just being able to look in every corner and climb every mountain and find every little hidden whatever. And I think this game is perfect for that. And it's in an urban setting. You can drive everywhere. You can pretend to be a taxi driver. You can fly a plane.
Officers.
Yeah, you can be a cop. It's just
fire. You could do everything.
It's a great role playing game, and you can see that in the way that it became so popular on Twitch with its role playing mods that it had. And I mean, that thing skyrocketed in popularity. Probably one of the reasons why the game is still around, actually, because you got all these little kids who see their favorite streamers role playing on GTA and how they can live a second life, essentially. And I think the mix of the world looking really good and being very deep and there always being something to do, GTA is definitely my number 5.
Yeah, and I'll go up there and say my GTA was number 4 for me for pretty much most of the reasons you pointed out. I felt like the world was always doing something, and that's what I look for.
It felt
in
alive.
Open world. Yeah.
Yep.
In open world, I look for things like if I'm standing out in the town, and this is where I disagree with some of Chris's points, is I feel like even when you're in the world by yourself, there's people doing stuff. There's people robbing cars. There's people shooting people.
Prostitutes.
There's people robbing stores. There's you could go in the store and have a conversation. You could do you can interact with that world. And I think with GTA 5, they finally got that, because 4, if you remember, was more of a open sandbox where they were trying to experiment with all those things. 5 is where they brought it home, where you can buy places. Remember, you could buy apartments even on when you were by yourself. You didn't have to be on GTA Online to buy apartments. You could have your own house and your own car shops and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You were able to have your own house. It felt like you were in the game. It felt like this was where you lived, your second life. You had a house, you had a car, garage. You could modify. It was a second life. You could really sit down and escape for hours on end and just enjoy your time with the game. For
sure. And 4, like I said, GTA 5 is my number 4 because I just felt like there was much to do in that world. So I enjoyed it a lot. I definitely think it needs to be up there in my top 5. So it was one of those games that I enjoyed no matter what. Sometimes I would just be in the world and just doing random stuff without even doing any mission. So that is my number 4. Chris, what do you have at?
My number 4 is going to be Red Dead. Enjoyed the game. Even though, most of the complaints about that game is that it's too slow. And for me, to be honest, it was too slow. But I pushed through because I love the story. The story was very deep. But going through it and seeing all how that world interacts with each other is hilarious. There's some very funny stuff.
Yeah.
I'll
never forget accidentally
getting kicked to death.
And there's some crazy stuff that goes on in the
I remember the first I was riding through the woods and it's dark and I hear woo, screaming. I was like, the heck is that? And then I go over and it's a whole bunch of Ku Klux Klan. And I'm like,
I
was like,
I didn't encounter that,
dude.
I
my
killed
god,
every single one.
Oh hell yeah! I said, well, I can't miss this opportunity. Let's get in
I
there.
think the craziest thing I saw was a guy getting kicked to death by his horse.
Yeah, there was one of those. One of the craziest things I saw was that there's a room, not even a room, it's a burnt house. and there's someone locked in that house, and like if you go close enough to it, you can hear the person like slamming on the door trying to open it,
Whoa.
and none of the doors will open. It is freaky, but it's like that's one
there's
of
some
those
weird-
things
there's some weird
that's in
stuff,
the
man.
game. And I mean, I'll talk about Red Dead when it gets to me,
but also like having I'll never forget accidentally bumping somebody with my horse, and you know, some guy's like, "You son of a bitch," and he starts running and he starts chasing, and I'm like, "Oh!" And I went to the next town. I bought
He
something.
chased
I did a side mission, and I was in that town long enough to be like to hear, "There you are, you son of a," and he was
Yeah.
there, and
Oh, damn.
he pulled me off of my horse and started wailing on me.
man,
Unexpected.
I
some
was like,
people
"What
don't
is
forget, man.
this?"
People don't forget.
But yeah, seeing that, if it moved, like, I mean, the game being at its slower pace, and because it's a Western and everything like that, it fits the game, but it wasn't for me. That's why I put it where it was. I appreciate the game, had a lot of fun. Yeah, like I said, funny moments, and there's so much to explore, man. I know there's somebody that said there's aliens in the game.
Yeah,
There's like
it's
Probably,
a
yeah.
whole journey
Dude.
in that game.
nuts,
Yeah.
nuts.
And that's your number 4, right?
Yes, that was my number
Right,
4.
so go ahead and hit us with you. Have you done your 4? You haven't done your.
Yeah, it was GTA.
Okay, so go ahead, Chris. Hit us with your 3 while you're there.
My number 3 is Horizon Forbidden West.
Okay.
I'll be closing my ears for this one.
Okay.
I can still hear you.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore, Yendi.
So Horizon Forbidden West, love that game. I'm still in the beginning parts of it, but it's just like the first, like going through. There's more ruins to go through. The fact that they added underwater caves, I haven't even gotten the.
I don't want to talk about those.
What? Oh, I haven't gotten even the equipment to be able to swim that
Yeah.
deep. But that water is so clear. It looks so great. Obviously, swimming mechanics suck in
Yeah,
all games.
that's
It's
why I
awful.
hate it.
Yeah. It's so bad.
You
It's
guys
so bad.
know.
But,
If you guys know, that's one of my.
but if you
pet peeves
want
in
to
games.
explore, man, it is so cool to be able to go through. I just did a quest where it was just ruins. It was an old train station, and there was just a relic that I had to go in there and get that I was looking for. And seeing all of it, like finding the old text messages and all this other stuff of how the train station ran with the employees, it's just really cool. I love that world and how Aloy's trying to figure out what civilization was. Even in the second game, she's still trying to figure it out. Why things happen, how did people live their lives, and trying to understand that culture. And it's really cool for them to see for her to teach others and stuff like that. It's just a cool story.
And I think I also just love that the fact that you do get to go through like what is now that times
Yeah.
like San Francisco and like Texas and all
Exactly.
that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. But like I said, I want to give the game more time than the games that I've played that the games that I have here. So that's why I put it where it's at. But I'm sure once I'm done with the game, it's
But what is it called? What is it called? Because I same thing with Last of Us, man. I just have an obsession of seeing those cities just being overgrown.
Yeah.
With all the
Plants
grass
and-
and
yeah,
plants, and then
because-
the wild animals, and they're like, oh, like I remember what is it? That whole scene in Last of Us 2, I think, when you're in the aquarium.
yeah.
I'm like, this is fantastic. This is beautiful. Love it, and I love those kind of things, man. It's
Sounds
very
like Chris
rich.
wants to get rid of all the humans. That's what it
I
sounds
mean,
like.
we don't deserve the earth, but that's
Well,
just,
then.
All right, we're getting there. Okay, so that was your number 3, right?
yes. Number 3.
All right, and Yendi, what do you got at 3?
Number 3 is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay.
Take GTA 5.
son of a bitch.
Take everything I said about GTA 5 and it's Red Dead Redemption. The world is beautiful. Even, I mean, just seeing like the sunrise on a green prairie, it's so pretty. You just get lost in it, or the like fishing out in the rivers with crystal clear waters, and just seeing the old steam train go by. It's just the world of Red Dead Redemption 2 is more like an experience for me. If that game didn't have guns or violence,
I'd be okay with it.
exactly, I would be 100% happy with it. I would live in that world if you can just be a farmer, right? It'd be like a super realistic Stardew Valley or like Animal Crossing.
Mhm.
Essentially, that's what it would be. I would take a normal day job that anybody has,
Or just do like hunting. or
Yes,
whatever.
exactly. Seriously, 100%. I would buy that game in a heartbeat. But it's just the world's beautiful, and it's got every kind of biome you can think of. Right? It's got desert, snow,
Everything.
prairie, mountains, everything, man. It's just beautiful, plain and simple.
The only thing I remember like feeling the game feel extremely slow to me was when I accidentally would try to go through my bag and I would get on the horse.
Mhm.
And be like, all right. And it was like, he's getting on the horse. I'm like, come on. I'm sitting there like tapping.
That's why you had to run to get on the horse.
Yeah.
If you sprinted, you got on your horse. Fast.
Yeah, it's just
so funny.
and then how the wildlife
Interacted.
behaved and interacted, and hunting was really fun in that game too. Like I
Get
said,
smacked up by a bear.
There's a lot.
I had a bear pull
yeah.
up on me and throw me
yeah.
off a cliff,
There
bro.
was
Yep,
a bear
or a
who-
cougar.
Oh yeah.
It was
Yeah,
dangerous. That being another.
Yeah.
That's another game.
that could easily be a survival game
Easily
as well.
I mean, they did have that survival mode in there
Did
where
they?
you had to cook and do all that
I
stuff.
thought that was just the base game though.
I feel
had to
like
eat- you had
don't
to
have
eat
I
and-
don't feel
and-
like you had to do it as much as like that mode that they added.
And also the fact that you get dirty and your beard
Yes.
grows, and
And you get the
Oh, man.
mechanics of like you getting wet when you went through the thing. Your
Yes.
beard, like you said, you had to get.
telling you,
haircuts.
man,
That game is phenomenal.
I need to look at this game again and see what kind of mods they have for PC. Because if I could do a survival without having
We have to try.
play
I have
the
to look
story,
online. I never really looked at the
I think-
online portion of it.
no, it
I
wasn't.
played the
Was it good?
online at the very beginning, and it was very
I did.
barren.
I heard the beginning was just people wrapping you up with the rope and
Yeah.
dragging you with their
yes,
horse.
what it was.
yes. I
It
started
was-
out. They
yeah.
started me out in the middle of the desert, and I'm like, okay, there's nothing around. I really don't want to spend the time doing this.
It's kind of like when GTA started, where it was just
Except
like
GTA, you're in a city,
yeah,
right?
there was things to do, but it wasn't like enough yet.
Right.
And I felt like that's the same thing that happened with Red Dead.
Mhm.
And I know they only charge you like $5 now for Red Dead Online.
They
but-
charge for Red Dead Online.
No, like you can buy it separate, like for $5.
Oh, that
without
should be
having the
free.
game. Yeah, I mean, I think that's their closest that they could do
Gotcha.
without like losing complete money. But now that we're cracking the top three, my top, I'll be honest, 1, 2, and 3, I felt like could have been interchangeable for me, honestly, especially 2 and 3. But my 3 is Skyrim, and it's not a knock on Skyrim. I'm only gonna talk positive stuff about it. I mean, what game allows you to be a vampire, be a werewolf, be a dragon, like have dragon powers, you can sneak, that world is always like there's always something to do. You get scared by random NPCs running up on you, wanting to have a conversation, and you didn't even see them. You have people like from the Brotherhood, and it's just that game is what I hold most game standards of an open world to Skyrim, and that's like I said, the only reason I could literally interchange 1, 2, and 3 on my list, because I just feel like these are the ways that open world games should be, and I feel like Skyrim just has always been that since Morrowind. Has always been a great open world game that you can just do whatever you wanted in that fantasy setting, which is one of my favorite things. So I've always felt like, this game was just amazing. I personally like Oblivion a little bit more, but again, that's just me. But I mean, Skyrim is up there as some of the best open worlds, like period.
Mhm.
So I just think, adding the addition to dragons was a perfect fit for that game. Just being that whole story, and just again, the amount of stuff that you can do in that game is just always amazing, and it never fails for me. I'm just gonna go ahead and say my number 2 because we just talked about it. Red Dead is my number 2, and it's pretty much like all the reasons that Yendi said. And I just feel like that world, again, there was always something happening. Just like we all three just named 3 different experiences that none of us. I mean, we saw the Ku Klux Klan thing, but like you could just say there's like plenty of people you could talk to who've been like, oh, did you see this? And you probably didn't see that. And then there's people like, I know there was a case where you had to solve like a killing that happened, and you can do like detective work, and like there's the hunting, there's the getting all the hairs, like getting all the fur, like legendary animals, like
forgot
it
about
just
that.
doesn't like getting all the camps, finding all the O'Driscoll places, like there's just so many things you can do, and you do it in such a fun setting of being a cowboy, and doing it in like, you could go to saloons, you could do shootouts. Like, I mean, there wasn't like that game for me is like just the Western of Westerns. Like
Yep.
you really felt like you were a cowboy in that game. You were literally robbing trains, like robbing old school banks like on horseback. Like, I mean, you know, and again, that's one of those that's one of those games that I didn't fast travel in, and that says a lot.
Yeah, I try not to as well. Yeah.
Because I want to experience that world,
Mhm.
and like I felt like there was always something to do or something at every corner. Like if you saw an abandoned shelter where people had loot and you got ambushed, like, you know, and because it was actually like a trap of people leaving stuff, bears attacks and stuff like that. I mean, that game for me, it's one of those games that are just it's simply amazing. Added to the amazing story that was already in there. I felt like the story played off of the world, which is something that I love that open world games do, because I feel like a lot of open world games try like send you to other places, but they don't really like make you interact with the world. And I felt like Red Dead was one of those games that you had to interact with the city, like, or when you were in a city, it was completely different than when you were in the country. Like, you know what I mean? And I felt like that game did a really good job at that. So that's why it's my number 2. Chris, what do you got it to?
My number 2 is Skyrim. It's everything what you said. Like you're right. You can be a vampire. You can be a werewolf. Now you can go fishing, and I want to go back to that game just for the fishing.
Yeah, we know how much you love fishing.
Yeah, man.
This fishing fetish.
Yeah, you
I
love
like fishing in games, man. I just do. I don't know what it is.
Fish in real life?
Yeah.
No,
Really?
should.
I've always wanted to.
I've tried. I have never caught anything. So I think we should get together.
LPF goes fishing.
I've been twice. I caught a turtle by accident. I set it for, and that was like a 30-minute task
Yeah.
of getting it free because I felt so bad. And then I caught one of little fish. And
so you did catch the fish.
I caught a fish before, yes, but I want to go
Yeah.
I want to pull one out.
Yeah.
You
want a whole lot of bass.
Yeah. That's one of my my.
You should do it.
shames.
I'm down.
I'm down. Yeah.
down.
I still have my pole. It's just sitting up there.
Yeah.
Just collecting.
Is Yendi water cruelty free?
What?
If not, I can't support this stream.
Oh my
What?
gosh.
It's Yendi's water. Yeah, my water is actually gluten free. It is not cruelty free, unfortunately, sir. You cannot support the stream. Get the fuck out.
Oh my god! Wait a second.
Oh, sorry. Get. Oh, you did it.
Yeah.
Oh, you did it. It actually mutes me.
That's what I
didn't know.
That's what
I
he was
don't know.
saying.
I don't know. That's cool. So if I say, "Hey, you stupid," I need one of these. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. All
And
right.
then Yendi, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is a game I did not finish either, but I got far enough to see most of the world. And
I just made a face in general of like, Witcher 3. I thought it was.
I think when it really hit me was when I got to Novigrad, that pretty castle city on a hill or whatever it was. I'm like, holy crap! I can't believe how far we've come. It's just the game. You know, it had so much hype leading up to the release, and I think it. I mean, 100% lived up to it, right?
Succeeded.
Yeah, exactly. The world beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I think of it as a more dangerous Skyrim, much more dangerous. You can actually get fucked up, and man, it's just everything you could ask for, right? And it's just like I said, more dangerous Skyrim. Everything that Skyrim is, just make it spicy. So
I hear that. Well, talking about Witcher, I'll just say my number 1 because that's what it is, and I agree with what you said. Also, it is just one of those games where, again, I love when an open world game makes you interact with the world, and that game was even better at being open world because you had to worry about everything was an element that you had to worry about. It wasn't just humans, it wasn't just monsters, it wasn't just the environment. Like everything could do damage to you. So you had monsters, you had ghosts, you had spirits, you had bears.
I hated spirits.
Yeah.
I hate it because you can only damage them with certain things, right? Like silver or something.
Which is cool, like, you know what I mean? And
like,
when you
shit.
fought like werewolves or lycans and stuff like that, that was the same thing. So it was that game again for me. I mean, playing, I don't even know how many hours I put into that game, but enough to where like I played that game inside and out. And I know Chase Seaport will agree with me on this because he's played it more than I have. But I mean, just the amount of stuff that you can do in that world where you have the farming, you have the making potions, and you have the making better weapons. And like, that's what I want in an open world. And I feel like the top 3 of my list, that all of those games did that for me. And it just gives you that environment of, I want to be in this world. you could play card games. Gwent became a separate game,
Yeah, that's crazy.
like because of this game. Like it became its own card game, which was literally a side thing, but it was so detailed and had so much like rules and so many ways you could play it that they literally built a card game off of it. So it just goes to show you one of the elements that you can do in that game that is amazing. And then you have like this whole world that was essentially the same thing. Another game you could go hunting in. Another game where, you know, you had like I said, going for different potions to make your potion stronger so you could fight enemies stronger. So for me, I mean, that game did what 2 and 3, and like I said, 1, 2, and 3 for me could have been interchangeable. I feel like I could have had any one of them at number 1, but Witcher 3 for a little bit of recency bias just because I felt like, I mean, Red Dead would be the most recent, but for me, I think Witcher 3 is just up there. It's just amazing.
All right.
So
Tell us why Breath of the Wild is your number 1.
So Breath of the Wild is my number 1.
That is the tone that says
it is
he's
probably
incorrect.
one of my favorite games ever. It's on my top favorite games. You guys saying how you didn't run into you had some empty moments. I had very few of those, and even in those empty moments I was enjoying it because I think mostly because of the music leading you on. The fact that you can cut down trees, the cooking, building your weapons, finding the different, like finding another villager, like walking past, like sometimes you'd find a random villager just running by and he's just like, oh, you know, even though he's probably running down the street each time you pass by, it's the same guy running past the street. They all had different stories to tell, and I loved that world so much. I think I put like 10 hours into the game before I actually started the main story. I was just running around. I remember seeing the 3 dragons that were roaming and trying to see what those like I remember I said, and I got 4 hours in and I was like, I need to start the game. I need to start this game and going. And then I saw the fire dragon and I was like,
that left me in awe.
What? And I was like, there's a dragon? And I tried to touch it and I got a dragon scale and I was like, there's a dragon scale? One of the first things I worked so hard on was building up my stamina so I could climb everything. I wanted to climb everything and see everything, and seeing the different Lionels, running into my first Lionel.
Oh my God, tell me about
Dude,
it.
Was insane.
I didn't know what it was at first.
Yeah, I remember in the snow mountains, there's actually shooting stars in the game. Late at night, you can follow a shooting star and it'll land, it'll crash. You'll hear and you'll see it glowing. And you go to it, you got to collect them fast. And I wasn't able to climb fast enough, but like climbing up and snowboarding on my shield down the hill and everything like that. That world had so much in it. And one of the only places I didn't explore, which now me talking about is going to make me want to play it again, was the castle. Whenever I beat the game, I went straight to Ganon and I took him out. There's actually a few.
That's how that game ends. You fight Ganon.
Well, whenever you run into the castle though, there's a lot of different villagers that have side quests that used to be in the castle grounds. So one's like a cook and he's like, I left my favorite recipe book in that kitchen. I'm like, bitch, there's monsters all in this castle. I'm not gonna go for your recipe book. I'm handle that. When I handle the boss, then you can go and get it. But you know, it's but there was so much and I didn't get to explore the whole castle, so that's probably something on my list. But that game I actually go back to every once in a while and I'll just roam around. Loved finding the ruins, going in and trying to get the what is it called? What was that at the end that you got? The Sheikah like stone, you know, you got you solve the puzzles. I love the puzzles in that game. Whenever you found the shrines. The shrines. Okay, the shrines. Yeah. That's what they're called. The shrines. And there was a lot of hidden caves and stuff like that in that game. I thought there was every turn I made, I felt like there was something there, to where I found a 2-headed spirit horse, to different mythical creatures and stuff like that. And every mountain I climbed on the other side, I found something different, and I just love that game so much. And that's why it's my number 1. Like I said, I was comparing all these games to what happens post game, and post game, even after all these side quests and stuff, I still feel like I was finding stuff, just exploring. So yeah,
and that's fair. Now imagine that times 3, and then you have Witcher 3.
Yes, Witcher 3 times 3, baby.
And Yendi, you wrap it up with your final number
My
one.
my final one is actually Skyrim. Big surprise, right? I think
Well, hold on. You know, y'all notice. Y'all notice.
He didn't play any of
they
ours.
They come to my house,
Oh,
my room, right?
yeah.
I get the button alert whenever they say something they don't like, and he takes control of it. But I'm not having it. I'm not having it. Mutiny.
you can't talk about Skyrim and not talk about how much replayability it has.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's still going strong. It's still being remade. That game is just something that you can play once, and then
I bet you they make a Steam. Even though you can play it on Steam Deck, they're gonna make a Steam Deck edition.
for sure. Skyrim Steam Deck, yeah. But you can play one game completely all the way through, start a new game, and
completely
have a
different game.
completely different experience. You can do a different class, even though as much as we say we're all going to start Skyrim again and play a different class, I think
don't.
in the end we always end up being a stealthy archer. That's just the way it is, at least for me.
It's because you get scared of the world.
Why you gotta call me out like that, bro?
I do it all the time.
You get scared of the world.
I try, like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a
I'm going
mage.
to do a mage.
I'm gonna do a mage run this time. Yeah, I start out fine, but then I find a bow and some arrow, and the bow does a lot of damage. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna use it for a little bit, right? And all of a sudden, I'm building hundreds of arrows, and I'm killing everything from a distance, and it's just so satisfying.
What's your class build now? I'm an archer.
I'm a mage.
But I know,
Mage archer.
I know, but I'm also a magician on the weekends.
And then, I mean, the world, man. I think biggest draw for everybody. They have freaking dragons. They have mountains. They have under caves, underground cities in caves. It's
Everything.
just everything you can imagine. Get lost in snow. Forests. Oh my god! Like, what doesn't Skyrim have? And it's just again another one of those games which you can play as a farmer. You can play as a normal
Mhm.
townsperson with the mods. It's just replayability. That's it should be called Skyrim replayability.
I mean, it's lasted two what?
Yeah,
three game
and
generations
yes,
now?
we will get a Steam Deck version. I'm 100% sure. It's just I want to say that the next Elder Scrolls is gonna have more hype than Half-Life 3
Yeah.
at this point, and I think this might also affect how Starfield does.
Yeah.
Because people are going to think, oh, it's the same person that did Skyrim, so it has to be good. And so I think a lot of people will be disappointed expecting a Skyrim or just an Elder Scrolls game when they're not going to be it's not going to be the same thing.
Well, they've already warned you that it's not going to be that. So
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
mean, in that
but
world,
people
like,
are-
you-
you're going to get a bunch of people who are going to be upset with Starfield because they can't play it, Sony,
Mm-hmm.
True.
and they're just going to flood the whole like we're not able to play it, and they're going to be missing out for the first time in a long time.
I'd like to become an alien though. I better be able to become a different
Oh
something.
my god!
Yeah.
No.
I
wanna-
wouldn't be
want,
surprised
like,
if
three
that was the
tentacles
case.
and be like,
Oh, that's what you want to do?
yeah.
Okay, that's
And
fair.
have 3 ray guns in my hands.
That's fair. I'm down for that. I'm down for that. But I think that game's going to be. I can't wait till we get a little bit more information for it. We will start getting for some more. It's starting to come around that time because I mean it's slated for November and they said it's coming out. So, all right, that was going to be our top 10 lists. You see, we were worried about time, and look at this. We actually went. This is one of.
I
our
think this is
longest
one of our longest.
which is fair because it's the first time we were doing this, right? So, let's get our last topic. We're not going to get too much into detail. Just name one of your favorite soundtrack.
Oh, no, one.
Just name one or two. We're not going to go
I
into
got
too
two.
much detail. I'm going to start it off. Sonic 2, probably one of the best soundtracks ever, just because of the the
Is that
music.
Green Hill? Is
It
that
has Green Hill and it has Chemical Zone, which is yeah. You can never beat Sonic, and I'm just gonna say Sonic, even though they weren't like, but that's part of their soundtrack. So Sonic for me, and I really, really loved Fallout 3 soundtrack.
Oh, that's
And so yeah, what about you, Yendi?
Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind.
Okay.
Every time I hear it, nostalgia. Every time it makes me want to play the games, and really anything by Jeremy Soule, which is the composer of most of the songs you hear from the Elder Scrolls. So yeah, all the way. But Morrowind 3 has that special place in my heart. Every time I hear it,
You gotta
nostalgia, man, all the time. It's just so yeah.
Chris.
For me, it's gonna be Halo.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's a
Halo.
good one.
bro, that
Damn, that's a
Infinite.
good
That,
one.
I mean, I bought the vinyl record. That Infinite soundtrack is beautiful. Oh
Even
my
Halo
god.
4. Halo 4
Yeah.
soundtrack was fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
and my other one is Celeste. I'm obsessed with that music, man. It's so good. I bought the box set, everything. I've listened to that music since it's come out, and yeah, man, it's fantastic.
This is definitely something we'll talk about later because I feel like we have more than just those. So I think we'll save this one, but we're just gonna give you guys a little preview of a little taste of that.
Little crumb.
Well, boys, it's about that time. We have had a good long show, one of our longest ones. It was great to do this live. You know what I mean?
It's awesome having you guys here and
Yeah.
actually doing this and seeing what we've created come to this point, and I know it's gonna grow from here, and it's very exciting to see. So.
Yeah, we definitely want to do this
enjoying it.
more often. So now that we know exactly how we're going to set it up next time, that means we'll have a shorter run. So definitely we're going to try to do this again. But, you know, that's what we want to do this monthly, at least try to do it. So that's what we're going to aim for, guys. So we'd love this setup. We had a good time. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to get over how good we sound.
Oh man.
Which is
Don't miss it.
we're going to miss it next week when we have to do it
That's
on
gonna sound like
Discord
trash.
again.
I mean, I'll sound like trash.
Yeah, so we're gonna figure it all out. But Yen, do you got anything you want to close out with?
No, just make sure you tell your friends that we have a show. Subscribe. We're almost at 100. We're gonna do giveaways. I feel like once we hit 100 subs, it's gonna be straight up from there, man. Yeah, we made it a year, and I'm hoping to be here for another year, and then go from there, and grow. I want to make this my full-time job. So
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Imagine. But yeah, so thank you guys for joining us for our full first live show ever. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't watched it live, you can go back and watch it on the YouTube video. So this was episode 52, the special live show with all of us. I hope you guys enjoyed. But for now, until next week, Fire Team.